Second regular meeting of the RSU 14 Wyndham Raymond School Board. We are in the council chambers. It is now 6:32. Mr. Superintendent, could I have a roll call, please?
You sure can. Kate Bricks.
Here.
Eric Colby.
Here.
Jennifer Fleck. Diana Forsland.
Here.
Marge Cavoni.
Here.
Pete Hensler. Jen Moore.
Here.
Don Dillon.
Here.
Jerry Keen Dwyer.
Here.
Sierra Yost.
Okay. There are no adjustments to the agenda. Could I, if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as I said, no adjustments. I'll open it up to public input if there is anyone from the public who has something to say not pertaining to anything on the agenda. Seeing none, I will close public input. First on our agenda this evening, we are going to have a sabbatical leave update from Lindsay Hansen. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm just going to move this quickly. So I prepared a little presentation for you guys just to be kind of short and sweet to share with you what I did for this year.
Lindsay, could you just give a brief thing of what you do?
Yeah, definitely.
For the public.
Yep. I'm a physical science teacher at the high school. I'm one of many of the science department members. I teach earth science and environmental science. Thanks.
Great, thank you.
All right. So what I had was to project, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So I would be more than willing to share with you guys digitally at a later time what's on my slides and just kind of speak from that, including some of the photos that might be kind of interesting for you to take a look at. So I'm not sure if you can see this from here. But I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity that I had on my sabbatical leave. And as you see, I made it all the way to the White House. So before I left, I did have an opportunity to tour the West Wing from a staffer. And I managed to make it behind the press podium, which you're not supposed to do. It was.
What's up the picture?
I don't know if I can disclose that information. They were distracted. Michelle Obama was having a surprise birthday party that night, which we did not find out about until the next day. So that's why no one was paying attention to me. But so first and foremost, I definitely want to thank you guys for the opportunity to take that year away. It was invaluable experience. It was great for many reasons. This slide was to show you just the many opportunities. These were things unplanned that I was able to attend, and they ranged from national and global conferences to very private talks with educational leaders and big thinkers in education and in science. A few of these things were 3D printing things held on Capitol Hill, also the U.S. Science and Engineering conferences where the most up-to-date research is happening and in science and engineering, along with a student-led STEMX conference where kids from all over the country came to share what they were working on. So kids that were like 6 years old running around at this conference. But just the opportunities to be down in that area, and things are free, and I was welcome to go to those. And the person I was working with was very flexible in letting me do that. So again, just a little reminder of what I was doing during that time. So I was working with Arcadia Power, which is a clean energy company, as their STEM education fellow. And they're a startup, which is doing very well. They have had 15% month-over-month growth since the beginning of their starting up, so they're doing very well, especially in a climate where we have these talks happening in Paris right now. They're a company that is doing well, and they're getting a lot of publicity. But they have a complex message, and so they were really excited to have me come and give my educational influence on communicating that complex message to their markets. So it's a little tricky to do back and forth. So 3 of the objectives, just as a reminder, when I spoke with you guys last, 3 of the mission and the objectives were to gain experience and perspective for what our students will be faced with when they enter into the STEM field, by working directly with an innovative energy company. So I had an opportunity firsthand to experience what our kids graduating will go and be involved in. Also to seek opportunities for growth and development in curriculum and instruction to prepare students for college and also careers in the STEM fields. And then lastly, to work directly with the new next generation science standards, which we're implementing in the district at kind of the national level, also staying in touch with Christine here at the district, so the local and district level. So the next 3 slides are really my objective, and then what are some of the things that I was able to do while I was there. And to gain experience and perspective in this field was definitely one of the most valuable parts. For me, this is the group of, or the core group of people that I worked with on a daily basis, at least. And I can't even describe the valuable experience it was to work with them and to see what our kids will be doing in these career fields. So we had people who had a master's in business. We had people that their background was in public policy. They were engineers, mechanical engineers, computer engineers, people that are coding and only spend their time with a computer, and all coming together for this one mission. So what was really valuable in that is, to me, this is looking at my kids in my classroom. You have the outgoing kid who might be in business and sales. You have the kid who really loves his computer. And the common thread with these guys is that they all really enjoyed science. And that's what brought them together, but their individual skill sets is what really made this company run. So kind of 2 takeaways for that is, 1, how can we foster those interests that our kids have that are not necessarily content driven, but then also give them the opportunity to explore subjects that they really do enjoy. So just because a kid is chatty and maybe might like to be a sales and business and marketing person, but they like environmental science, that's definitely a career path for them, and that we should encourage that. So just the diversity of people that I was able to work with. For them, I created educational modules that help them focus on energy and how to communicate that message to people when it's kind of a complicated one. I worked with the EPA and national student groups to create clean energy goals in education. So what does that look like, and how do we inform people? And also I helped them establish some company guidelines for education and what that looks like. So we have people that are in their 20s, we have people that are in their 90s within this company that they're trying to reach. So how do we simplify that message? The second goal is definitely to seek out opportunities personally to grow and develop within curriculum and instruction as a classroom teacher. And how could I do that and bring those things back to kids to make sure that they're ready for college and careers? And so one thing I really enjoyed doing was keeping a professional journal of of all of the things that I had the chance to go see, the things that I took away from it. So listed here are a few of those things. So I met Megan Smith, who is the Chief Technology Officer for the White House, at a conference, who we knew someone from the White House was coming to the conference, and it was all hush-hush. And she came out. She was the former vice president of Google. And this was the conference where kids were at, so they were very excited about that. And so these big picture thinkers in STEM and trying to get kids involved, and her message was every kid should know how to code. It's just a thing that we should do. Also TED Talks, Joel Klein, who is the chancellor of the New York City schools and reform, so these big kind of changes in school districts, which was a really interesting perspective for me as an educator. And then also all the way down to things that give me a little bit more input in my classroom instruction. So how do we get kids involved in STEM activities that are maybe non-traditional? So a lot of cool things, talks and conferences and things that I was able to weasel into, which was a really exciting experience for me. Also, an unplanned thing that I did when I was away is I completed my certification as a curriculum coordinator when I was away. So that was kind of an added thing that I did. And then the second thing that I did is not only do we want to prepare kids for college readiness with STEM, But what about the kids that are ready to graduate and go into industries without college? So maybe tech schools or right into the industry. So I actually created, based on the state of Maine and our technology clusters and where that is in the economy in Maine, was I gathered these businesses around the state so that kids have an opportunity to look at where are the places where I can get involved in composites. Like, what are those companies? Where can I get internships? Who can I make connections with? So I think this is a useful tool for kids, but also for teachers, for trying to get kids involved in different things. Even with the recent opening at the University of Maine, the Marine Center that they have up there. So this is another thing that kind of was a brainchild of mine as I was down there looking at, not everybody can work at Google or has access to things that are in Washington, D.C., but what can our kids do in Maine? So definitely something that I have yet to share with our Jobs for Maine graduates, but something that's coming forward. And then the last one was making connections with the next gen standards. So I'll jump ahead a little bit, but what I did when I was away was I kept in touch with Christine Hessler about what the district was doing, and tried to help out and make some materials for teachers that would help us take this complicated standards and bring them into the classroom. So I worked with her and created a handful of materials that teachers were, it was shared with teachers, K-12. And also, what I have done is I've helped to lead some professional development. So since I've been back, I've done 3 days with the middle school, and next Wednesday I'll be meeting with them again. So looking at how we implement standards in a more understandable way. It's kind of a big, daunting task. So I've had the chance to kind of put what I did into action a little bit in these first 10 or 12 weeks back. So it's been exciting. Overall, definitely from my practice, some of the takeaways that I have are that the skills that we're teaching our kids are the most important. Even among the people that I worked with that were my age or younger at this company, the skills are what got them there, and the interest and the motivation is obviously helped, but that we're not teaching kids science content necessarily, but we're giving them the skills that they need to succeed in that. So with this changing world, it's hard to imagine, even myself who haven't been out of college too long, saw this major change in this startup, which was very eye-opening and cool to be a part of for sure. And also focusing on the skills that students need just to be prepared for an ever-changing world. We have no idea what that job market will look like. So giving them those skills for sure. And for our district, definitely, it was cool to see that we're on the right track with Next Gen, and that people are really open to making these changes, including the middle school and high school teachers that I've worked with. They're really excited about it, like, give me more, how can this work? So definitely seeing that our eyes are open to this change and that it's a good thing. And so these were just some little quotes from the professional development days that I ran that in my mind were pretty successful. And when people leave happy in a professional development day, it's usually a good thing. So I can definitely share these things with you. But again, I just wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity. It's definitely rejuvenating for me in my classroom. I was excited to get back and to make some changes and to do some things, and also to have conversations with colleagues. That was something that in the business world, I didn't always have an educator's ear, so I was excited to come back and chat with people about that. So here's a little "you are here" outside the box. So just a thank you for thinking outside of the box. And that's when big changes happen and when improvement can take place, I think. So it was definitely very valuable, and it was a life-changing sabbatical for me, for sure. So thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody have anything, any questions or anything for Lindsay? Nothing?
No, I just think it sounds like it was an exceptional experience, and I'm pleased with what you brought back to the district, both professionally and for our students. And the fact that you're a female in STEM, you're also an excellent role model.
Jan? Pete? Don?
Good job.
Sierra, you're at the high school.
No.
Putting her on the spot.
I know.
I would just
you
say
know-
that your point to content versus skill is I think it's a tension about you have to learn the content, but I think you're saying the content may not be as important as the skill set, and that's important to bring back, 'cause I think it's very hard for teachers. I'm a teacher, and boy, to let go of that content. I can teach that content, but the skill is a very
Yeah.
different sort of thing. So I think that's great that you're coming back with sort of a hands-on and, moving us forward to being that sort of skill-based as opposed to content. You can pick up your phone and get the content.
Right,
And
definitely.
that's a little scary for people to say, we don't need to know when Columbus discovered America anymore. But,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the frame shift.
Yes.
And this experience definitely brought that out, so,
Good, great.
yeah.
Thanks.
You know, Lindsay, you were pretty passionate about going when you came before us, but not half as passionate as you sound right now after going through this, you know. And in my mind, that can only be a great benefit to our district. So I'm glad, I'm happy we sent you, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of benefit coming back to our district because of your endeavor and all the work that you did there. So it was great, thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome, thanks. And I would like to share this with you digitally, just so you can take a look.
Yeah, great.
It was a little tricky to speak from something that I was
Yeah, I
hoping you
know.
could see. But there's some interesting things in there, might just bring to light some of the details, but I'll make sure to pass it along so that you guys can get it.
That's great.
Yeah,
Well done.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
yeah, thanks, guys.
Excellent. Okay, moving on. Next, we have appointments. If I could have a motion, please.
I move to approve Barton Says for the 2015-16 school year as a special ed teacher at Wyndham High School.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are anything from the public? Seeing nothing. Any questions, comments from the board? Seeing none. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Okay. Okay, next we have a motion, and this is concerning the middle school and PDT architects. If I could have a motion, please.
I move to vote to authorize the superintendent or designee to enter into an agreement with PDT Architects for the purpose of receiving a more detailed floor plan and cost estimate for improvements to the Wyndham Middle School. An informational note on this, the RSU 14 Facilities Committee and Finance Committee are recommending that we engage the services of PDT Architects to assist the school board in preparing for a non-binding vote in Wyndham as it relates to improvements to the Wyndham Middle School to include grades 5, 6, 7, and 8, as compared to the cost of a new Wyndham Middle School on the Wyndham campus. The study will also include estimates on improvements to the Raymond Elementary School and the Jordan Small Middle School. The cost of the study is approximately $16,000 and will be paid for through the school board's budget reserve fund.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. Mr. Davis, if you could just, for people who have no idea what we just said, if you could just give a little bit of a background on what.
Happy to do that. As
Thank
you
you.
know, the board will be working diligently to bring information to the public relative to the potential for projects and are thinking about doing an advisory referendum possibly in November. What we know we need to do is to put some meat on the bones in terms of what the cost of the projects might be. So it's important that we get the architect to let us know what the cost estimates would be so that we can inform the public so they'll be informed when that time comes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions, comments from the public?
Bill was coming.
Seeing,
Is Bill coming? That's why I came, because I thought he was coming to talk about it.
not tonight.
We're glad you're here.
We're very happy to see you.
This morning.
Any comments from the board? Questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you.
I move,
Not gonna happen.
how does this work? I move that the board are we ready for number two?
No, two.
Sorry.
Yep.
I move the board authorizes the superintendent or designee to enter into agreements with various contractors for the purpose of demolishing a large portion of the J. Andrews School in South Wyndham, Maine, Informational note, due to the structural damage and safety concerns, the administration is recommending the demolition of a large portion of the J.A. Andrews School. Demolition includes asbestos removal, oil tank removal, demolition, foundation removal, carpentry, infill, etc. It is estimated that the total cost of demolition will be in the range of $106,000, with the cost being defrayed by insurance proceeds in a like amount, making the demolition cost neutral.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. Mr. Davis, please. little bit
Just,
background.
I'm happy to try to shed some light on this. Basically, there are going to be probably 1, 2, 3, 4, a half a dozen to 10 separate vendors providing the services, because they're all different components of the work to be done. Most of those folks have been competitively vetted, if you will, and have been chosen by the district to do so. So I think, other than that, as we pointed out, at this point, the budget was in the $106,000 realm, and insurance settlements are in that realm as well.
Okay, and for those who have not been following this, during last winter, we had a part of the roof come down. So that's what we've been addressing up to this point. Okay, any comments, questions from the public? Seeing none, close public. Anything from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, next, report of the secretary.
I move to approve the minutes of the October 7th, 2015 meeting.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any comments from the public? Seeing none, any comments, questions from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? Abstentions? 2 abstentions. Okay.
I
Next
move to approve the minutes of the October 21st, 2015 meeting.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll close public. Any comments from the board? Okay.
Sorry.
Eric? Oh, you're voting already? I've done that.
I'm
Okay.
multitasking, I'm sorry.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay, abstaining? 1. Thank you. Okay. There is one more set of
I
minutes.
move to approve the minutes of the November 18th, 2015 meeting.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any comments from the public? Seeing none, we'll close public. Any comments from the board? Seeing none. Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes of November 18th? Okay.
I wasn't for that one, so I can't.
Abstentions?
Four.
I thought I'd heard that, but I couldn't remember.
What?
You can, but
Okay, how did you vote?
You can vote for it.
Okay, it was
Doesn't
4.
matter. Okay, you all set? Did you get that?
I didn't get the names of the abstentions, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, committee reports. First will be the Finance Committee, please.
and that would be me. Okay, some of this is now old news, now that we just voted on 2 of the items. We met 2 weeks ago, so the first topic was the John Andrews School, which obviously Bill recommended that we demolish the old portion but retain the addition, the brick addition, so we just passed that. Second consideration was the other item that we passed, the preliminary designs for the Wyndham Middle School and Jordan Small and RES. Third item we talked about was a food service update. So Jeannie Riley let us know that she is still having difficulty collecting the unpaid student account balances. We've actually made no progress there, unfortunately. And she's also told us that she has seen quite an increase in food costs related to the 2012 passage of the federal requirements for whole grains and so forth. Has caused us some significant food increases, as I'm sure you found yourself when you go to the grocery store, as well as other items that we serve, protein items. And she's also had to replace many pieces of equipment, so, food services currently, she's had some challenges, but we're still discussing how do we solve the uncollected balances. And the other item we discussed, which I hope most people are aware, we've been discussing a pre-K program in the district. So we have a committee that's been meeting monthly. We need to come up with a budget, which we will be presenting to you folks. So we had when Susan Reed came, she spoke to us as well. She told us that preliminary startup costs would probably be in the neighborhood of $120,000. And what would happen is we need to upfront that cost, but we would be reimbursed the next year. So we're gonna be working within our committee, which we have a meeting tomorrow actually, to crunch some more numbers, and we'll be coming to you guys in, I think, the next meeting. We'll be talking about that so we can get a yay or nay whether to continue or not. And then we're looking at a preliminary budget timeline. Did we pass that out to everybody?
I believe that's in the packet tonight.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Which we dropped, I don't know if you looked at that. We did drop the Saturday meeting. Remember we were discussing that?
Might be stapled to.
It is, it's
Yes.
to the last page.
Back.
The one that's the superintendent
Yeah.
board update.
So that was a discussion we had last year during the budget season. It seemed like a majority of folks were not thrilled with having a Saturday meeting. So you can look through that, but we did choose to drop that.
Okay, can I, while we're on that
Sounds
one,
like a bit of a
can I ask,
hospital.
can I ask a question on, I was a little confused on
Oh, yeah.
3.9. Next to it, it says
I know.
C3.2, so I don't know why I was seeing 3.2.
Well, we do have a meeting on 3/2. That's when Sandy
Oh, that's
submits the budget.
Oh, does that go with the top line?
Right, that is,
Is that meant to go with that?
that's how I read that.
Well, that's how, I want to make sure I was reading it
Yeah,
right.
3.2 is when I actually present the budget.
Well, good, because I got
No,
a
I
little
think-
nervous. I didn't want the
isn't it?
budget the same
I
night.
think we bundled that. Remember the second, we were not gonna have a meeting the first of the
like
month
that.
in March and go, so that's why we made note of that.
Now I'm confused. One more time,
So
We
please.
are
normally
gonna
do
drop
first
the
and third,
second?
but I think we changed that to be the second.
Not the first.
Not the first.
Not the first one,
And
the second.
what's different about that is normally Sandy would do the presentation, there might be some board business. In this case, we're going directly into deliberate, you're going into deliberation.
Oh, so there's not another week and
No,
then,
no,
Okay.
no.
So we don't get a chance to review the book?
You'll get it in advance of the.
Oh, we're going to get it before that?
Yeah.
That's, okay,
With a
that's...
please promise that you let the superintendent give his overview first.
As long as I have the book ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Diane, I'm sorry.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay. I'll do policy quick. Do you have anything on policy, Kate?
yeah, I do. The A-team met with the policy committee, and the agenda was a pretty beefy policy, the grading and reporting policy. The intent at that meeting was to fine-tune the rubrics for the guiding principles and the habits of work. And as we got deeper into the discussion, we realized that there needed to be a little bit more work done building-wise, collectively, before we really hammer out some specifics for the policy. And as you all, those of you who have children in the schools and Sierra, you soon, if you haven't gotten it already, the reporting is coming out this week. Did it come out this week or last week, the report cards?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Depends what grade.
So it's
Depends on the grade.
Right.
they're coming out soon.
Yes.
So, so in any event, when you get them, the guiding principles and habits of work, if they aren't on your report card, those are the things that we're still working on as a district to get our arms around. Some of them are new concepts, so it's pretty meaty work, and I know that the administrators are doing some really thoughtful thinking about it. Coming up, we're going to be meeting with hopefully the new SRO who's recently been hired to review, finalize the SRO policy, which the SRO and police, campus traffic, there are 4 policies related to the police force. And they had been put on hold because we were going to get a new police chief. As you may or may not remember from the minutes, we do not have collectively an RSU policy. We're operating off of the Wyndham policies and the separate Raymond policies. And so this will finally get us together on these 4 main policies. So it shouldn't be too much more work. The police department has done a really nice job of collaborating and including in one of the policies a descriptor not only for the SRO, which has been updated, but a descriptor for the community, what's the name of it? Community support. Basically the DARE officer, everything that Officer Sear does, he's got an official title and it's community something. But anyway, that job description or the duties will be embedded in the policy, which we've not had before, so that will be very helpful. And just as an FYI, there's still approximately 14 policies that are on the very back burner, simmering, I like to say, that have to do with proficiency-based. And as you read and get memos, you realize things are constantly changing on that front with the state. And so even the biggest, beefiest policy, the graduation policy, which has a lot of new things embedded in it, we're kind of on hold because we're not quite sure exactly what's cooking with that. So we'll just keep plugging along until we have to pull the trigger. And I guess that's it.
Is the, I know the DARE office is getting a new title, School Resource Officer. Is that still the school
It's
resource
still
officer at the high school?
SRO. I think it's community.
Something. They'll probably call him a DARE officer anyway. They've done it for so
Yeah,
long.
but I think
the kids.
it encompasses more than just the DARE
Yeah.
program, which is why we expanded the title.
Okay, great. Okay. Kate, facilities.
Okay, we had the lovely distinction of meeting this evening for the Facilities Committee and with the assistance of the incomparable Bill Hansen and Don Davis and Sandy Prince and Diana Freuslin. No, you weren't there. That's a different one.
That's the other.
That's the
that was
other.
another
That's
meeting.
the other one.
That's the other meeting.
And Jerry and Jennifer and myself. Oh, and you. Okay, I named everybody. Oh, and you.
Would have been easier to name who wasn't there.
I know. Yeah. We all had a little party to discuss facilities, and you've gotten a brief update on J.A. Andrews, and just, I don't know if you were aware, but we had some guests, some citizens at our last meeting who were interested in that and spoke after the meeting. They were curious what was going on, so we've decided that we're going to send abutters to the facility a letter just kind of outlining what our process is for that. If you live in the neighborhood, you would certainly want to know what the heck is going on with this building that's collapsed. So we want to keep the public informed. Bill provided a very detailed capital improvement and major improvement outline for a 10-year plan, which is fluid. And there'll be more talk really in the finance realm about how we're going to proceed with the budget and how we're going to fund certain projects. So that was very helpful. It was done by building, so it was extremely helpful. The biggest, meatiest thing that we talked about was the middle school facility study planning, and that has never gone away, although that too has been simmering. And because we had the strategic plan going on in the fall, this was kind of bumped a little bit backwards. And now we're going to really get into high gear with some work so that we can present to you, hopefully, where we're at in January at a board meeting, what we're doing moving forward and our recommendations for it's a non-binding referendum, and I think that's the
Advisory, yeah.
advisory referendum, and that's the key phrase. It's like a survey, basically, where you put it on the November ballot, and we're asking for people's opinions. Do you like this one, or do you like this one? And it in no way is a financial commitment. It's not a commitment. It's just testing the waters, basically, to see what the public thinks. So we've got some work to do with that, but we've got a lot of information already, and we had some really meeting discussions about what we want to present to you, and hopefully at that point, then we can get your feedback on how you think we're doing. Yep.
Okay, was there any discussion, now that the money's been authorized to get, to engage PDT architects, any discussion in terms of the time frame as how long it's gonna take them to get something back to us?
Well, you know, I asked that question, Peter.
She did.
And I am pushing for sooner rather than later, so that we can have that information, hopefully by May, maybe. Not too much, as you know, happens over the summer, so we want to make sure that we have ample time to do some communication with the public and for us to digest that information too, so that it's not, last minute. Good question.
You all set? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I was not there at the last vocational meeting, but I did send the minutes out. I'm sorry, I can't add to it because I wasn't there, so I'm not sure what else went on. And there's not another meeting till January, so I'll be reporting on that come January. And I'm not, let's see,
What about strategic
have
plan?
you, I'll give you a minute.
No, him.
Have you?
Nothing to
Okay.
update till next meeting.
Okay, so you're all set with the technology? Okay, I don't think adult ed has even met. No, I don't think they've had a problem, I think, getting everybody together at the same time in order to have a meeting, so there hasn't been anything there. Is there, okay, before I get to that one, Mr. Prince.
Thank you. A lot of things going on, and just want to, as Diana said, the preschool meeting is this Thursday. I think our focus will be certainly to firm up the budget, because we want to get that to the board, I think, for our December 18th meeting. At that point in time, we're looking for you, hopefully, to give us a thumbs up to continue to plan this, to have a preschool program for next year. So that's, again, going to happen Thursday. Peter Pan, I'm not sure if many people were able to get to the play, but it was, once again, a fabulous job by the theater department. And as you know, the Peter Pan was really flying on stage, given the equipment that the students used. And Sierra, you were there, weren't you? Yeah. So it was just a wonderful turnout. I think it probably was one of the record turnouts that we've seen. So kudos to the staff and to the students and to the community on that. As mentioned, strategic plan committee met today, and our work really is at this point in time to come up with 3 themes, and we worked on that today. Draft form, so I'm not prepared to share that tonight, but really get 3 themes, and then from there we will develop goals, and hopefully we will have a strategic plan easily by the end of the year for you people to review and to vote on, and then we'll put it into place for the next 5 years. So it's coming along very well. The December link will be out just before Christmas, and we're looking forward to making sure that every resident gets a copy of that. I would like to just mention that we had a lot of press last week. The Real School on Restorative Practice was on Channel 13. And Channel 6 ran the story on Peter Pan, as well as Dr. Nickerson and the Wyndham Chambers. There was a nice documentary about the history of the Wyndham Chambers, and really focused on Dr. Nickerson's leadership as well. So that was with Bill Green on Channel 6. Fall sports, We had 5 Eagle teams win the Maine Principals Association Sportsmanship
Wow.
banner, which is, I think, a record. I think usually you might get 2 or 3 teams within the district. This is a big deal because it's not always just about winning. It's really about sportsmanship. So congratulations to the Wyndham High School girls and boys cross country team, the field hockey team, volleyball team, and the golf team. And I think
The volleyball team was new, wasn't it?
fairly new.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that for you?
Just for the board's sake, I had an email today from Maine School Management that they're very interested in having Cumberland County superintendents and board members meet with York County superintendents and board members to talk about a particular topic, and it could be student-centered learning, it could be about student growth, it could be student evaluations. So they just wanted to give us a head up, and I thought I would just mention that. So they were kind of probing me to think of a space, and just alone, if you invited the Cumberland County board members, you'd have well over 100. So, we probably would be looking at some place that could fit 200+ people. So it's the first time, more to come on this, but it sounds intriguing, and I'll make sure that you stay informed on that. Other than that, things are moving along. Thank you.
That's great. Sierra, do you have anything you would like to add? You're going to have to move that mic over a little, huh?
Yeah, just the Chamber Singers have their annual American Family Holiday concert this weekend, and Peter Pan was a success. It was a record. It was a record, the amount of money that they raised, and schools, winter sports started 3 weeks ago, so everyone's really excited about that.
Excellent, great. Did I miss any committees or groups? Okay. All righty. Well, seeing as we're all speaking anyway, we can probably do round tables. So if people have, if you want, do you have more you'd like to add to that, Sierra? You can. Dawn? No. Pete?
Just that I've got my tickets to the Wyndham Chamber Singers, and I'm looking forward to it. And I just love driving around Wyndham at night, seeing all the decorations out now. It's a great time of year. I think both of the Chamber Singers shows are sold out this weekend, so it's unfortunate if people don't have tickets, but it was a great show last year, and I'm excited for it again.
Great. Jen? Kate? Eric?
Yeah, I would like to give just a shout out to the Barbara Bush Teen Center program, and to Kristen Chavanel and to Leanne Smith, who do a huge part of it. They get the kids together from, I guess I should start from the beginning. So it's a group of teenagers that that the librarian gets to go down and to read to the elementary kids, and it's pretty cool to see it in action, because the younger kids really look up to them. I mean, they look to these older kids, and I think it's pretty cool. And they were so supportive, and I could tell they were getting a lot out of it, because they had to be very patient. They had to be a teacher, is what they were, what they were being. So it was cool to see the interaction between the older and the younger. I enjoyed it very much, and not to mention the support we get for the extra books, which are more STEM-driven type of science books for these young kids. So I really had a good time going. If you guys get a chance, I would recommend it.
Great. Jerry?
Nope, I've got my tickets to Ampham too. And again, Peter Pan was just, magical. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Okay, I'm going a little out of context here, because Michelle had asked earlier, and Bill just came in, if pertaining to something we probably would have let him speak on. Is it something imperative, Michelle? Because if there's a question of Bill, you could ask him.
No, it's fine. You voted. I just misunderstood.
Okay, that's
Okay,
fine.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Now we are going to have an election of the board chair. So, before I start though, I just want to remind folks, because sometimes we forget, that when you vote for each one, you only get to vote once. which I always was a shock to me. I figured, why can't I vote for two people? But if you usually vote up once, if there's two people nominated, you can only vote for one of them. You can't vote for both. That's just a reminder. Okay, so nominations are now in order for the office of chair until November, the end of November 2016. So if I could have a nomination, please.
I nominate Marjorie Govoni.
I second it. Did you say Marjorie? I second it.
She did. God. Are there any further nominations?
I nominate Marge.
Okay. If I could have a motion to close nominations?
So moved. Second.
And seconded? Okay. Nominations are now closed. Those in favor of Marjorie Govoni for chair,
Be official.
right, until November 2016? I suppose I should vote for myself. Well, that was unanimous, so I guess there's nobody opposed. So I won't move my chair at the moment. Okay, now we have to, we'll have the election of the school board vice chair. Nominations are now in order for the office of vice chair until November 2016.
I nominate Diana Froisen.
Second.
Okay, are there any further nominations? Okay, seeing none, I will accept a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? It is unanimous. Okay, all those in favor of Diana Freuslin as vice chair? It is unanimous. Congratulations.
Congratulations, bravo.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You know what's not on here, though? Aren't we going to review the committee assignments? Where did
No,
that-
what I'm going, yeah, she didn't, but
Yeah, you said
what
it
we're
was
going,
supposed to be on
I
there.
know, but it's not. So what I'm going to do, in your packet, before we adjourn, in your packet is of all the subcommittees. There is a list, if you could take that out of your folders to make sure you have it. And please go through it at your own leisure, and if we don't have to do it now, but if there is a committee you are interested in, or if you would like to change committees or not be on the one you are presently on, please let me know before our next meeting, which is, we are having a meeting December 16th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking because I'm never sure, I haven't been here, so I wasn't sure how heavy it was. Okay, so if you could take a look at that and then, try to get back to me or Cindy before then, so we can have this updated. I'd appreciate it.
I just have a question. There's not any negotiations this year, is there?
No, there's not. No.
So that one's on hold.
You can come back.
He told you that before. He did tell. Now, I did have. Now, I do have a question though. The dropout prevention, is that still active? I don't know. I thought it went. I thought it went inactive for a while. Is it back on?
It's back on, big time this year, yep.
Okay. Eric, you're aware of that, right? That dropout prevention committee is back in business?
When do they
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I've been to
okay.
one, I reported on it, back a while ago, but.
I know, but then I thought, okay.
They have a meeting.
They do a
Okay,
they're
that's
doing it
fine.
quarterly right now.
Oh, okay, that's why.
If you get minutes, would you send them to
Yeah.
us? Great.
Didn't I send?
I don't
Only
remember
been
seeing.
one.
I don't remember.
I
Well, it
don't
might have
know. I will
been so
double check.
long ago.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I can't
You
remember
probably
either.
did.
And the SEA still
Yes, they're
is
meeting.
functioning?
I got that date here. It's coming up. It's in Scarborough on December 14th.
We actually haven't met, though, for the past couple of months.
Oh, okay.
I mean, typically it had been every month, and last year, now that we no longer have the Alliance School, it's not as imperative to meet as regularly, but there's some new initiatives that are coming down the pike, I think.
Oh, good. So it's still,
Yeah, I
so
didn't-
It's
now
still- it's still-
it's not school focused, I mean,
It's
on that
not.
particular.
Right,
There is
there
no-
are other things that are
Right.
being discussed.
Great,
But there's
excellent.
no, have they scheduled like a dinner thing for the board that's,
No,
okay,
I don't know if that will happen or not.
okay.
Yep.
Last year, didn't it get canceled because of weather or something?
Yeah. I think we had a storm.
There's not been any discussion about having one
No.
this year.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? It is unanimous.
Marge, I'll stay on the committees and